Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are, because as an international university, our students, as well as other employees, are currently in different parts of the world. I'm bidding farewell to the USIU community and to let you know that it has been for me a great honor and privilege to be your Vice-Chancellor for the last 6 years. During these 6 years, we have of course continued to make progress, building on the traditions and legacies of those who came before us. We have also faced a number of challenges, and as a university, we have handled some of those challenges as effectively as possible. Among the areas we've made considerable progress is of course our core business, which is academics. In this regard, we should all be proud of the fact that we have continued to grow our academic programs. They have grown by a third, mostly in the new schools of science and technology, as well as, of course, the School of Pharmacy and Health Sciences and the School of Communication and Cinematic Studies. We have also increased research productivity among our faculty and students. In addition to those achievements in the academic area, we have also been able to increase the number of faculty, again by almost a third, which has reduced our faculty-student ratios and increased the opportunities for faculty to do other things, in addition to their core functions of teaching and learning, and of course, the research and scholarship and service. Another area where we have had to work very hard as a community is to increase and diversify our revenue streams. We are a tuition-dependent institution, and therefore numbers matter. But despite some of the challenges that I'll mention in a minute, with regards to enrollment, our financial situation has continued to be healthy. And this is partly because, of course, of a long tradition of prudent financial management, as well as the ways in which we have tried to diversify our revenues by increasing donations, particularly from foundations. Many of you will know that last year we were able to secure $63.2 million from the MasterCard Foundation to provide scholarships to young men and women across Africa who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. This program is going to be there for 10 years, and you can only imagine the impact it is likely to have on these extraordinary young people in terms of their personal lives, their families, and of course their communities, their countries, and the world at large. The other area I think where we have continued to make progress is of course in terms of human resources. As I said, we have increased our faculty. We also, before COVID, were able to increase employment of other people in core areas that provide crucial services for the university. And we have tried to ensure that our policies are updated to reflect contemporary human resources management systems. And in this regard, it is something that we should be proud of, that in 2 consecutive years, we were among the few universities that were ranked very highly by the Federation of Kenyan Employers in terms of its employment policies and support for employees. An area that, of course, has been very important for us as a university is infrastructure. And here, the progress we have made over the last 6 years should make all of us smile. We were able to open the new student center named after the previous Vice-Chancellor. So we name it, of course, the Frida Brown Student Center, which centralized all the student-related activities. And of course, that included the provision of sporting facilities. And most recently, we just finished the new building of the School of Humanities, which was, the ground was broken in November 2018, and we finished it in June of this year, 2021. This building alone doubles our classrooms on this campus, provides smart classrooms for modern pedagogy and ways in which students learn today. There are also labs for psychology, for languages, there is a forensic lab, there is a moot court, there are auditoriums, and there are numerous spaces for students where they can sit and gather, talk, and of course study together. In terms of electronic infrastructure, that's an area which the university has a long history of investing so that we move with the times. And these huge investments in electronic infrastructure continued over the last 6 years. And the proof of that investment in terms of what it yielded for us came during COVID-19. We closed the campus on the 17th of March. The next day, on the 18th of March 2020, we continued our classes using online platforms. That was made possible because of those investments, including having established USIU Online that provided training for faculty, as well as, of course, students. And we continued making more investments in terms of the library, electronic resources, new systems, including those building on existing systems. So the expansion of our Blackboard learning management system, investment in responders lockdown to ensure the integrity of our exams, and of course, many other areas in terms of electronic infrastructure. And then, of course, as a university, we have always been keen to develop strong partnerships. In fact, one of our strategic goals during the 2015-2020 strategic plan was to raise the reputation of this institution. And we have done that in many ways, including the ones I've already spoken about, in terms of academics, in terms of finances, in terms of human resources, and of course, in terms of infrastructure. In terms of partnerships, we strengthened and built new partnerships with government, both the national government as well as county governments. For example, we signed an MOU with the Council of Governors to provide resources in terms of research and policy development in the counties. And we also strengthened our partnerships with the private sector, both local companies as well as international companies. And among the latter, of course, with the IT companies, all of us know IBM, we all know Microsoft that established the only apprenticeship factory called App Factory, one of the 14 across Africa at USIU. We collaborated, this is just another example, with the US Embassy to establish the first social media lab in this region. And we also collaborated, of course, with other universities locally, regionally across Africa, and internationally, including the United States, where, of course, we have our accreditation with the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. In addition to these three, we were able to establish very strong partnerships with international and intergovernmental agencies. With the World Bank, for example, through the Kenyan government on the Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project that seeks to give employability skills to thousands of young people who have not made it to university. Similarly, with the African Development Bank, we established a center of excellence in coding for employment, one of the only 4 that was selected by the African Development Bank in this country. And this country was among the 5 countries in Africa where this pilot project was established. And of course, we also worked very, very hard to strengthen partnerships with philanthropic foundations. I mentioned the MasterCard Foundation, but there are others. The Flora and the Hewlett Foundation, which has been funding our Network for Impact Evaluation Research in Africa, NIERA, which is based here at USIU-Africa to provide training and capacities to evaluate development projects, of which we all know there are quite a lot across this continent. And I could go on, but the point I simply want to mention, to emphasize, is that we've been very keen to expand and extend our relationships. And of course, this includes community organizations. All our students, as you know, do community service, and we have continued to grow the range and scope of community service programs. For me, one of the most gratifying things being at USIU, apart from the daily chores that I was responsible for in coordinating the running of this university together with the management team, is to see the progress among our students. There is nothing that fills the heart of somebody like me, a lifelong teacher, than to see young people come to a university and witness their intellectual growth as well as their personal growth. And among some of the most gratifying things is, of course, the students who have left this university and become very productive citizens of this country and their various countries, as well as, of course, become, employees as professionals, and some of them, of course, establishing their own enterprises in which they employ themselves and employ others. And many others, of course, also continued to go abroad to study, whether in Africa or elsewhere in the world. Personally, I taught one class every year in the International Relations Department in development issues in Africa and Africa's international relations. And some of my students are among those that I am very proud to see that they went for further studies in Kenya, across Africa, and across the world. And one of the most impressive things I witnessed being here among our students is, of course, their athletic and sporting prowess, winning of these awards, from competitions, from games, and of course also the ways in which our students rallied together to establish this very important initiative called Educate Your Own, to ensure that no student is unable to continue because of financial difficulties, and this commitment was to help other students. Altogether, I remember last year that 41 students were being supported through Educate Your Own. So in short, for me, being at USIU-Africa has been one of the greatest pleasures and honors and privileges that I've had in my life. As I leave this university, I'm confident that the university will continue moving forward as it has over the last 52 years. I'll continue being an alumni of USIU, committed to supporting this university wherever I can, and of course, engaging the people I've worked with, staff, faculty, and the students that have gone through this university during my tenure, and providing any kind of support and engagement that is meaningful for them. Today, I just donated my personal library to this university. It's a vote of confidence in this university that as a university, it represents all the things that I've valued in my life, namely a high-quality education, impactful and rigorous research, and commitment to having social impact through public service and engagement, and creating a hub of innovation and entrepreneurship for our students, for the university itself. And these happen to be the goals of the new strategic plan for 2021-2026, which I was fortunate enough to lead its development over the last 18 months. I wish you the very best in everything that you do. I wish the faculty, I wish the staff to continue thriving at this institution, regardless of the challenges that we may face. And I certainly wish the students success in the long life awaiting you in the, after you leave USIU and enter either the world of work or you go further with your education. Thank you very much. And of course, we'll continue engaging wherever I am and wherever you are. After all, we live in a global village in which connections, communication, collaboration, engagement are constant features of our lives. Thank you.